The night my parents handed my sister Claire a brand new house for graduation, the backyard erupted in celebration. Champagne glasses clinked, relatives pulled out their phones to capture the moment, and my mom actually teared up while hugging her. Then my dad turned to me with this weird half-smile and said, "And for you, Jessica, we got you something practical, a 1-year membership to Planet Fitness." The laughter started immediately. Not the uncomfortable kind where people are trying to figure out if it's a joke. No, this was full-throated amusement. My cousin Derek literally slapped his knee. My Aunt Linda whispered something to her husband that made him chuckle into his beer. I stood there holding this purple folder with the gym logo on it, feeling my face burn hot enough to start a fire. Claire, who was 24 to my 27, just beamed at everyone, her perfectly highlighted hair catching the string lights my parents had hung up for the occasion. She kept saying things like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this," even though we all knew she'd been in on it for weeks. The house was in Riverside, about 40 minutes outside downtown Denver, worth around $115,000. They'd been talking about it at family dinners for a month, calling it an investment in her future. My mom leaned over while people were still congratulating Claire and said, "The membership includes access to the tanning beds and the massage chairs, sweetie. It's really quite comprehensive." Like that made it better. Like that somehow evened the score between real estate and access to a rowing machine. I looked down at that purple folder and something inside me just cracked. Not broke. That would come later. This was different. This was the sound of finally understanding something you've known your whole life but never wanted to admit. I was the spare. The backup. The one who didn't need anything because I'd always figured it out on my own. Claire walked over, house keys dangling from her manicured fingers, and leaned in close enough that only I could hear. "Maybe if you actually used it, you could find someone willing to put up with you." She said it with a smile, like it was sisterly advice instead of a knife between the ribs. I didn't make a scene. I've never been good at making scenes. Instead, I set the purple folder down on the patio table, picked up my purse, and said I had an early morning. My mom's face fell. "Jessica, you're leaving already? We haven't even cut the cake yet." The cake had Claire's name on it in buttercream frosting. Of course it did. "Yeah, I'm pretty tired," I said, keeping my voice level. My dad barely looked up from his conversation with Uncle Tom about the housing market. Claire was already taking selfies with the house keys, her friends gathered around her like she'd just won an Oscar. I drove home to my studio apartment in Capitol Hill, the one I'd rented 3 years ago after finally saving enough for the deposit. It had exposed brick on one wall, a window that overlooked a coffee shop, and enough space for me and my thoughts and nobody else. I sat in my car in the parking garage for probably 20 minutes, just staring at the concrete wall, replaying every laugh from that backyard. That's when I knew I was done. Not just with tonight, but with all of it. With being the responsible one. With being told I should be grateful for whatever scraps they threw my way. With watching Claire get everything handed to her while I worked 50-hour weeks at my accounting firm just to afford rent and groceries. I spent that whole next week apartment hunting. Found a 1-bedroom in Glendale, nothing fancy but it had better light and a small balcony where I could actually sit outside. I put down the deposit, gave notice at my old place, and started packing. I didn't tell my parents. Didn't tell Claire. I just moved, quietly and efficiently, the way I'd learned to do everything else in my life. For the first few days in the new place, I kept expecting someone to call, to notice I'd gone radio silent. My mom finally left a voicemail on day 5. "Jessica, honey, I don't know why you're being so dramatic about this. Call me back so we can talk like adults." I deleted it. My dad texted once, "Your mother is upset. Call her." I didn't respond. Claire tried a different approach. She sent me photos of her new place, the living room with its vaulted ceilings, the kitchen with granite countertops, the backyard with actual grass. Each one came with a caption designed to twist the knife just a little deeper. "Can't believe this is all mine," and first dinner party in my new kitchen, and my personal favorite, home sweet home. I muted her messages and kept unpacking. 6 weeks into my new life, my phone rang at almost 11 at night. Claire's name lit up the screen, and something in my gut told me to answer even though I'd been ignoring her for over a month. "Jessica." Her voice was wrecked. Not the fake crying she used to do when she wanted something from our parents. This was raw, panicked, the kind of crying that comes from actual fear. "What's wrong?" I asked, still holding a coffee mug I'd been about to put in the dishwasher. I fucked up. She was gasping between words. I really, really fucked up. She told me everything in a rush. There'd been a bachelorette party in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. She'd gone with her sorority friends, the ones who still acted like they were 21 even though most of them were pushing 30. They'd hit the casinos after dinner, just for fun, just to mess around with the slot machines and drink free cocktails. But Claire hadn't stopped at the slots. She'd found her way to the blackjack tables, convinced herself she had a system, that she could read the dealer's tells. She'd won $300 and thought she was invincible. Then she'd started losing. Instead of walking away, she'd gone to an ATM. Then another. Then she'd taken a cash advance on her credit card. I thought I could win it back, she sobbed. I kept thinking the next hand would be the one. By the time her friends dragged her away from the table, she'd lost everything. Not just the money in her checking account, she'd somehow gotten a line of credit against the house. Our parents had put it in her name, thinking it would teach her responsibility. Instead, she'd used it as collateral to keep gambling. The house was gone. Well, not gone yet, but the payments were so far behind that the bank had started foreclosure proceedings. She had maybe 2 months before they actually kicked her out. I sat down on my couch, still holding that coffee mug, trying to process what she was telling me. How much do you owe? $38,000. Her voice broke on the number. Mom and Dad are losing their minds. They've been calling lawyers, trying to figure out if there's a way to reverse it, but Jessica, I signed the papers. I did this. Why are you calling me? I asked. Not cruelly, just genuinely confused about what she thought I could do. Because you always know what to do. You always figure things out. She paused. And because Mom and Dad are probably going to call you next, and I wanted you to hear it from me first. She was right. My mom called the next morning before I'd even finished my coffee. Her voice had that careful, measured tone she used when she was trying to manipulate someone into doing what she wanted. Jessica, I know you're upset with us, but this is bigger than hurt feelings. This is about family. Claire made a mistake, and we need to help her fix it. My dad took a different approach. He called that afternoon while I was in a meeting at work. Left a voicemail that started with "Your sister is in real trouble," and ended with "We need to know if you can help cover some of the payments until we figure this out." He didn't say how much. Didn't apologize for the gym membership or for the years of watching Claire get everything while I got nothing. Just assumed I'd fall in line because that's what I'd always done. I sat in my car in the parking garage after work, the same spot where I'd sat after that graduation party, and felt something shift. This was the moment everything had been building toward. Every time I'd been told to just handle it. Every time Claire had been rescued while I'd been left to figure things out alone. Every casual cruelty, every dismissive comment, every reminder that I ranked second in my own family. They wanted my help now. Needed it, actually. And I had a choice to make. Claire showed up at my apartment 2 days later. I hadn't given her my new address, which meant one of them had done some digging, probably called my old landlord or checked some database they shouldn't have had access to. She stood in my hallway looking smaller than I remembered, her designer purse hanging off one shoulder, her eyes puffy and red. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside and let her walk past me into the living room. Didn't offer her anything to drink. Didn't hug her. Just watched as she perched on the edge of my couch like she might bolt at any second. "I know you're mad at me," she started. "I know I've been. I know I haven't been a good sister. You got a house for graduation, and I got a gym membership," I said. "And when I left, you sent me pictures of your new kitchen." She flinched. That was shitty. I was being shitty. "Yeah, you were. But I'm asking you now, as your sister, can you please help me? Just for a few months. Just until I can get back on my feet. Mom and Dad can't cover all of it, and I've already picked up a second job at Nordstrom, but it's not enough. I need." "No," I said. She blinked. "What?" "No. I'm not giving you money." Her face changed. The desperation hardened into something uglier. "Are you serious right now? You're going to let me lose everything because you're still pissed about a stupid gym membership?" "It wasn't about the gym membership," I said. "It was about what the gym membership represented. It was about being told my whole life that I didn't matter as much as you did. That my accomplishments didn't count. That I should be grateful for whatever you and Mom and Dad decided I deserved." "Oh my God, You're unbelievable. I'm about to be homeless, and you're making this about your feelings. You're not going to be homeless. You're going to have to get an apartment like the rest of us and actually work for what you have. Welcome to being 24. She stood up, her hands shaking. I can't believe you. After everything our parents did for you. Like what? What did they do for me, Claire? Because from where I'm standing, they taught me how to take care of myself by refusing to take care of me. She left, slamming my apartment door hard enough that my neighbor probably heard it 3 units down. My mom called that night, crying. Real tears this time, not the performative kind. How can you turn your back on your sister like this? She's family, Jessica. Family helps family. Where was that energy when you gave her a house and gave me a gym membership? That's not fair. We gave you what we thought you needed. You gave me what was convenient. What let you pretend you were being equitable while still playing favorites? Well, guess what? I don't owe you anything. I don't owe Claire anything. I'm done pretending this is normal. My dad's text came an hour later, disappointed in you. Expected better. I blocked both their numbers. Blocked Claire's too. For 3 days, my phone was finally quiet. Then weird things started happening. First, it was small stuff. I'd come home from work and feel like something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on what. A chair moved slightly. A window I thought I'd closed standing open. I chalked it up to stress, to not sleeping well, to the guilt that kept creeping in despite my best efforts to keep it out. Then I noticed food missing. Not a lot, a couple yogurts from the fridge, half a loaf of bread, some deli turkey. I started questioning my own memory. Had I eaten that turkey and forgotten? Was I going crazy? One night, I woke up at 3 in the morning because I heard something. A soft thump from the living room. I lay in bed, heart pounding, trying to decide if I should call the police or if I was just being paranoid. After 10 minutes of silence, I convinced myself I'd imagined it. The next morning, I found one of my throw blankets on the floor by the couch, folded in a way I definitely hadn't folded it. And my kitchen window, the one that led to the fire escape, was unlocked. I set up my phone to record that night, angling it toward the living room before I went to bed. The footage made my blood run cold. At 2:47 a.m., the kitchen window slid open slowly, carefully. Claire climbed through, moving with the practiced ease of someone who'd done this multiple times. She went straight to my fridge, made herself a sandwich, ate it standing at my counter. Then she grabbed my throw blanket, curled up on my couch, and went to sleep. My sister had been breaking into my apartment, sleeping on my couch, eating my food. And I'd had no idea. I waited until the next evening, after work. Knocked on her apartment door. She'd moved into a 1-bedroom in Aurora after losing the house, and held up my phone when she answered. Want to explain this? Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 3 seconds. Confusion, recognition, shame, defiance, and finally resignation. How long have you known? Long enough. How long have you been doing it? She stepped aside to let me in. Her apartment was tiny, cramped, nothing like the house with the vaulted ceilings and granite countertops. She'd sold most of her nice furniture to cover bills. What was left looked like it came from a thrift store. 3 weeks, she admitted. I was embarrassed. I didn't want Mom and Dad to know how bad things were. Your place was close to my new job at Nordstrom, and I knew you'd be at work during the day, and I just... She trailed off. I thought you wouldn't notice. You broke into my home, Claire. I know. I'm sorry. I was desperate. You were on my couch, sleeping in my space, eating my food. After everything that's happened, you thought that was okay? No. I mean, I knew it wasn't okay, but I didn't know what else to do. The shelter was full, and I couldn't sleep in my car in this weather, Anne. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop. I don't want to hear the excuses. I want you out of my life. If I catch you anywhere near my apartment again, I'm calling the police. I'm not threatening you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you what will happen. She started crying. Please, Jess. I need help. I can't do this alone. You should have thought about that before you gambled away a house. Before you broke into my apartment. Before you spent our entire lives treating me like I was less than you. I left her standing in that tiny apartment and drove home. Changed my locks that night. Bought a proper security camera for the fire escape. Drew boundaries so clear even Claire couldn't pretend not to see them. 2 days later, the letter arrived. Plain white envelope. My name printed on the front. Inside was a notice from a collections agency saying I owed $42,000 for a personal loan I'd never taken out. The loan had been opened 6 months ago, right around the time my parents gave Claire the house. The money had been used to cover household expenses and emergency costs. They'd used my name, my credit, my social security number. They'd committed identity theft, and they'd done it so casually, so confidently, that they probably thought I'd never find out. I called the number on the letter, verified everything with the collections agency, then drove straight to my parents' house in Littleton. Didn't call ahead. Didn't give them warning. Just showed up on their doorstep at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday with a letter in my hand and rage burning so hot I could barely see straight. My mom answered the door, and her face went pale when she saw my expression. Jessica, what? Explain this. I shoved the letter at her. She took it, read it, and I watched the color drain completely from her face. We were going to tell you. When? After I got sued? After my credit was destroyed? After I couldn't rent an apartment or get a car loan because you decided to commit fraud? My dad appeared behind her. Jessica, calm down. Do not tell me to calm down. You used my identity to take out a loan. That's illegal. That's not a family disagreement or hurt feelings or me being dramatic. That's a crime. Claire was there too, lurking in the hallway like she always did when there was drama she'd caused but didn't want to face directly. She wouldn't meet my eyes. We were desperate, my mom said, and she was crying now, but I didn't care. Claire needed help, and we'd already tapped out our savings on the down payment for the house, and we thought. You thought what? That I'd never find out? That I'd just pay it when I did? That I owed you this because you raised me? We raised you, my dad said, his voice rising. We fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. Don't you think you owe us something? And there it was. The thing I'd been waiting my entire life to hear them say out loud. No, I said, and my voice was steady, cold, completely calm. I don't owe you anything. You chose to have children. That was your decision. Everything you did for me before I turned 18 was your legal obligation, not some debt I have to repay for the rest of my life. The room went completely silent. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to contact that collections agency tomorrow morning. You're going to explain that this loan was fraudulent. You're going to take full responsibility for the debt, and you're going to make sure my name is completely removed from it. If I hear from them again, if this shows up on my credit report, if there are any consequences to my life whatsoever from what you did, I will file a police report. I will press charges. And I will make sure everyone in our family knows exactly what you did. You wouldn't, my dad said, but his voice wavered. Try me. Claire finally spoke up, her voice small and bitter. You're really going to destroy this family over money? I turned to look at her. Really look at her. And I saw it clearly for the first time, not my confident, entitled older sister, but someone who'd been given everything and never learned how to stand on her own. Someone who was terrified because for the first time in her life, nobody was coming to rescue her. You destroyed it, I said quietly. All of you. You just didn't notice because I was too busy holding up my end to complain about it. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. The loan was resolved within a week. My parents paid it off, drained their retirement account to do it, according to my uncle, but that wasn't my problem. My credit was cleared. I got letters from 3 different agencies confirming that the fraudulent account had been closed and removed from my record. Claire moved back in with our parents 2 months later. Lost her apartment, couldn't keep up with the bills. From what I heard through Uncle Tom, who was the only family member I still talked to, she was working at a Target now, still trying to dig herself out of the hole she'd created. My parents tried reaching out a few times. Tentative emails. Careful text messages that started with "We know you're still upset," but I never responded. The silence was healthier than any conversation we'd ever had. I got promoted at work 6 months later. Nothing flashy, just senior accountant with better pay and actual benefits. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in Highland, splurged on real furniture instead of the thrift store specials I'd been using. Bought myself a plant for the balcony and watched it grow. One Sunday morning, almost a year after that graduation party, I was having coffee on my balcony when my phone buzzed. Claire's name on the screen. I almost deleted it without reading, but something made me open it. I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I wanted you to know that I finally understand what you meant. About having to learn things the hard way. About consequences. I'm sorry for everything. You don't have to respond. I just wanted you to know. I read it 3 times, waiting to feel something. Anger, maybe, or vindication. But what I felt was just tired. Tired of carrying around the weight of their expectations and their disappointments and their desperate need for me to fix things I didn't break. I didn't respond to the text. Didn't block her either. Just set my phone down and went back to my coffee, watching the sun come up over the Denver skyline. Walking away from my family didn't ruin my life like they said it would. It saved it. I learned that love without boundaries isn't love, it's permission to be used. That saying no doesn't make you heartless, it makes you human. That the people who should protect you sometimes need to be protected from instead. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not waiting for apologies or closure or some big moment where everyone realizes they were wrong and I was right. I'm just living my life, finally, on my own terms. And that's enough. If you've ever had to protect yourself from the people who are supposed to protect you, you're not alone. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes the family you need is the one you build for yourself. Sometimes choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. And sometimes, the best revenge is just living well.